everyone. Thanks to everyone that watches today. I'm going to be making some scrambled tofu today. I was aware when I put this apron on that it looks like I've got nothing underneath, but I'm going to show you I have got shorts on. So I'm just going to get straight to it. I'm probably going to have to move my camera around a lot because I'm trying to film this on my iPad and I've got no one to film me. So apologies for that, but I'm going to start off just by showing you what ingredients I've got and then I'll get on with the cooking. So I'm just going to show you the ingredients first, so just bear with me while I move the camera. Hey Sarah. I will try and keep an eye on the comments. Oh, there it is. Okay, take this off of here. Okay, so ingredient wise, I'm just going to go through what we've got. So obviously we've got the tofu. Now this is half a block of firm tofu. I use Cauldron, and if you do use that one, it will be in water, so you need to get all the water out. You don't need to press it, but just get the water out, and then I'll show you in a bit how, but just get some paper towel or some kitchen roll in other words, and just pat it dry to get the excess moisture off it. Hi Catherine. And then we've got a handful, quite a generous handful of spinach. You can use baby spinach or just use big leaf, it doesn't matter. You can always chop it up if you like into smaller bits. We've got half a tin of chickpeas which have just been drained and washed, and these have just sat in the fridge overnight. You don't need to sit them in the fridge, that's just because I used the other half yesterday to make some hummus. We've got black pepper. Just let me know if the camera angle's not right or whatever and I'll try and adjust it. We've got a tablespoon of rapeseed oil. Now obviously if you're on Slimming World you're not going to want to use that, so that's fine, just use Frylight. We've got half a yellow pepper and half a white onion. Now the recipe says red onion, but you can use white if you've only got white. And as for the pepper, just use whatever colour pepper you've got. We've got turmeric. What else have we got? We've got nutritional yeast. Good old sea salt. You don't have to use sea salt. You can just use a fine, just like what do you call it? Table salt. We've got 4 tablespoons here of oat milk. You can use oat milk. You can use rice milk or cashew milk. But don't use a milk that's really strong in flavour because it's going to taste awful basically, so don't use coconut milk or anything like that. Obviously if you're not vegan you can go ahead and use cow's milk, that's fine. We've got black salt. Now a lot of you probably haven't come across black salt before. It is just a naturally occurring salt as it says on the front. It's an odd thing, it doesn't smell very nice. But it tastes really good and it gives you that kind of eggy flavour, so you really kind of need that. I buy mine, as you can see, from Rainbow Whole Foods, who are brilliant for herbs. That's the only place I found it sort of ground like that. And then we've got some parsley. Now I've got a feeling I've actually missed something here, but hey ho, we'll get on with it and hopefully not. So I'm going to try and position the camera best I can just to show you what I'm going to do with the tofu. And as I say, if you've got any questions or anything, just pop them below. Yeah, well, I like to get prepared, Sarah. It might help if I flip my camera around. And it also might help if I turn my oven on, that tends to cook a bit better. Right. I'm just going to pop something behind this, just bear with me. This is a bit tricky doing it on here, but needs must. Right, there we go. So hopefully you can see this okay. So I'm going to take my half a block of tofu, and as I say, you don't need to actually press it. All you need to do is get some kitchen roll, just get a fair amount. Just tear that off, pop your tofu on one half, fold it over, and literally just push the sides, the top and the bottom until you get it nice and dry. It doesn't have to be extremely dry, just drier basically. As you can see, it will start seeping through where some of that moisture is. So just get it as dry as you can, it doesn't matter if it's not overly dry. But that's just going to help it crumble better basically, and stop it from being too moist. Right, so that's now done. I'm going to pop that back on the plate for now. I'm just going to ditch this. Okay, it seems weird cooking with no music, because usually I've got some classical music on in the background and it kind of relaxes me. But hey ho, so what we're going to do now, I've got the frying pan over here. In fact, I'm just going to move the camera yet again because I need to just see the hob. Hopefully, let me just move these out of the way. Hopefully you can see semi-alright there. So in this pan, I'm going to add in my tablespoon of rapeseed oil. Just going to grab a spoon so I can get all of this out. Obviously, as I say, just use fry light instead of rapeseed, that's fine. And if you need any more, if the onions and the peppers do start to get too brown, just add a little bit more. So I'm just going to pop the onions and the peppers in there once I've turned on the heat. Now my hob is pretty crap, so I have to put it on really high and then suddenly turn it down. But obviously a lot of you won't have that problem, so in which case just turn it sort of to a medium heat so they don't burn. So I'm just going to have to wait for that to heat up. I'm not actually having this for tea, believe me. I'm going to put this in a Tupperware container and I'm going to reheat it in the morning. But by all means, obviously you can have it for your tea. I'm actually trying to show you while I was heating up this recipe tonight for sticky shiitake mushrooms, although I'm using portobello mushrooms. If it turns out well, I'll post a picture of the food and the recipe for you. But we're just going to wait till this pan gets nice and hot, which shouldn't take too long, but as I say, my hob isn't the best, so just give it a little while. And with the peppers and the onions, chop them as thickly or thinly as you want. So if you want them a bit crunchier, chop them a bit more thick, which I normally do, but for the purposes of this video I've chopped it a bit thinner. Whereas if you want it so the onions really reduce down, go almost jammy, then slice them a bit thinner. Just do it however you want, and you can adapt this to how you want as well. So if you want to put some mushrooms in this, for instance, or you wanted to put some nice thin sliced green beans, anything basically that you want to put in it or take away from it, you know, just make it your own. I've tried this with kale. When I've had some kale left over, rather than putting spinach, I've chopped the kale really into right small pieces and popped that in, and that's worked really well. So yeah, just make it your own. So I'm just going to fry these off until they are softened basically. And while that's doing, I'm just going to move these ingredients out of the way so it'll give you a bit of a better view of what I'm doing. Just bear with me while I do that. I'm going to keep the salt there. And I'll tell you why we've got the milk later. That is quite an important part of the recipe, but I'll tell you about that later. I'm just going to move that. So I'm going to move the camera so hopefully get a bit. There we go. If I can push this down at the back. There we go. Give you a bit of a better view of what I'm doing. Right, so this is just starting to soften now. Just going to let that go a little bit longer. You can, with the chickpeas, you can use dried, but dried do take a long time to prepare, so I recommend probably just using tinned. Okay, so this is cooking quite nicely. This is what I mean with my hob. It takes a long time to heat up, and then when it does heat up, it's too fierce. So I'm now going to have to reduce this a little bit. And then I'm just going to, as I say, fry this off until it's starting to soften. By the way, this recipe is on my cooking page on Facebook, and I am now in the process of creating a website where you'll be able to see all my recipes, so that you don't have to basically scroll through all of my posts to find the recipes. So as soon as that's up and running, I'll let you all know. But as for the recipe, if you, recipes just here, if anyone wants a recipe, just let me know and I'll PM it to you, message it to you. Okay, these are starting to soften now. So what I'm going to do in a second, I'm just going to let these go a little bit longer, and then I'm going to chuck my chickpeas in, which I say is half a tin of chickpeas. You can use a quarter of a tin if you don't like chickpeas that much. Personally, I love them. So if I can use them in something, I will. Same with the spinach. So I use half a tin, but as I say, if you don't want to use all them, then certainly use less of them. It's fine. And if you don't want to use chickpeas, if you don't like them, just don't put them in. Okay, so I'm going to go in with the chickpeas now. I'm going to pop those in. So these are going to start getting a bit brown now, which is fine. Put that in the sink. Okay. Just going to turn the heat up a little bit, because it needs to cook a little bit quicker. And I'm just going to keep stirring this so nothing catches and burns until until the peppers and onions are softened a little more and the chickpeas are starting to brown. What's the question? Please produce. Yeah, I'll send you the recipe, Annabelle, no problem. I'll do that as soon as I get off here. Thank you for asking. I'll also send you the link to my page so you can see all my other recipes, and to the website once that's up and running. By the way, if anyone's got any tips for creating a website, then please do let me know, because I really don't know the first thing about creating a website. Okay, so these are starting very slowly now to brown, so I'm just going to take them a little bit further until they brown a little more. I'm just going to turn the heat up a fraction more. As soon as they start to brown, we'll go in with the other ingredients. So, what have we got? So, in a second, we're going to go in with the salt. We're going to go in with the turmeric. We're going to go in with the black pepper. We're going to go in with the black salt. The parsley we're going to put on at the end, that's just more for decoration. Yeah, so that's all the herbs. I'm just going to check my recipe and make sure I've not missed anything, because I still keep thinking I've missed something out. So just give me 2 seconds while I just check this recipe. I'm just going to let these go a little bit longer. Come on, I need you to cook a bit more than that. Okay, let's put no, that is indeed everything. Okay, that's good. So this is almost ready now for the herbs and spices. Don't want to put the herbs and spices in too early, because obviously it's going to start to dry it out. So make sure you got it like softened enough before you add them in. So I'll just keep an eye on these comments. Oh, okay, thank you. I'll have a look at Wix. I did, I have used WordPress for my poetry. I liked it, but not that much, so I kind of wanted something a bit different. So yeah, I'll have a look at Wix, thank you. Alright, so I'm going to get my You know, I'm going to put this a tiny bit longer, sorry. When I say my hob is rubbish, I mean my hob is rubbish. And my oven. My oven takes twice as long to cook anything, so if a recipe says 20 minutes, it takes 40 minutes. That's how rubbish it is, but there we go. Right. So this is almost ready now for them herbs. I just want to get this nice and soft before I add them in, because I say that will start to dry it out. While I'm doing this, I'll just ask Annabelle and Sarah, whoever's watching, if you like tofu, or is it something that you don't like or you've never tried before, or just let me know. So I always say this recipe is quite good for people that either don't think they like tofu or literally don't like tofu. So it's not like using it in, say, a sweet and sour. Because you're replicating scrambled egg with it, it is really like scrambled egg, only in my opinion 10 times better. So yeah, it's really good for people that don't like it. So I'm going to go in with the herbs now. So I'm just going to resort to looking at my recipe for a little bit. So I'm going to go for 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Catherine, you've never had it, okay, well, you have to give this recipe a try and let me know what you think. I'm sure you'll like it. So I'm going to go with this is quite a heaped 1/4 teaspoon. I've only had one, so bloody lovely. You do really laugh, so yeah, that can be a bit like a sponge, yeah, I know what you mean. It kind of depends how you cook it and if it's been pressed. For instance, I love Chinese dishes with tofu, and I love them from the Chinese takeaway. And there's one Chinese takeaway near me that press their tofu and it's delicious. Another one doesn't press it, and it's full of water and it's spongy and it's awful. So it really does depend on if it's pressed and how you've cooked it, what you've cooked with it, things like that. It is a funny ingredient. It's got to be sort of done right. So that's the salt. So you know this is too fierce. This hob is awful. Right. I will stop complaining about the hob eventually, I promise. I'm going to go in with black pepper now. I'm going to go with quite a bit because I love black pepper. I did say quite a bit. I'll probably add some more later as well. And with these, if you want, obviously taste it at the end. If you want a bit more pepper or a bit more salt or a bit less, just adapt it and just add the amounts that you want, basically. Just do it to your taste. I think this is probably about the right amount of black pepper. So next, we're going to go with black salt. That's funny stuff that I'll show you later. As I say, it smells horrendous, I'm not going to lie, but it does taste good, and it does give you that eggy sort of flavour. Okay, so 1/4 teaspoon of that. And 1/4 teaspoon doesn't seem a lot, same with the turmeric, but it is enough, I promise you. Right, okay. So I'm just trying to keep an eye on the comments at the same time. Sorry if I miss your comment, but I will have a look through them later and try to reply to them. So that's the black salt in. So next we're going to go in with the turmeric. As I say, 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. Isn't going to seem like enough. I'm going to show you, hold on. That is all we're going to use. Now that doesn't look like a lot of turmeric, and it isn't, but it will go far. Trust me, that is going to be exactly the right amount of turmeric. We're not going to get a lot of flavour from it, but what it is going to do is stain all of this, essentially stain all of this veg and stain the tofu, and it's going to be the colour of egg. So you're going to get the colour of the egg from the turmeric, and you're going to get the flavour of egg from the black salt. It's quite clever, really. And turmeric is really, really good for you as well. So that's that. We're then going to go in with, I can't believe I still have to look at the recipe because I cook this more or less every other day. Half a teaspoon, of nutritional yeast. Again, this is personal preference. If you want to add a bit more, then do so. Or obviously, if you want to add less, add less. And eventually, I'll get the lid off, that's it. Right. So, I'm going to go for quite a heaped half a teaspoon. I'm going to add that in. I always think this looks a bit odd, but it tastes amazing. Basically, I don't know exactly what nutritional yeast is, but it's full of B vitamins, so it's really good for you. And it's got sort of a naturally sort of cheesy taste. So I use it to do, as Sarah will know, I use it to make my croutons, and it makes them taste almost cheesy. It's really, really good. Right, so that's mixed through. So next, we're going to go in with, let me just check that these are all in. Yeah, so we're going to go in with our tofu now. So I'm going to break the tofu in half. This could actually be done with drying a bit more, but that's fine. And then I'm just going to crumble it in. Now you can crumble this into tiny little bits. You can crumble it into big bits. You can do a mixture of size pieces. It's completely up to you. Now I quite like a mixture. Some bits big, some bits small. It's quite messy. You're going to have to wash your hands after this, but just crumble all that in. So I'm going to do about a third at a time, just to make it a bit easier. And this is obviously where you're getting the your kind of fake egg, if you like, for want of a better term. I believe how nervous I get from doing a live video, honestly. I really shouldn't be. Right, so I'm going to crumble that, and I'm just going to wash my hands a second, so just bear with me. Right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix this all together, and I'll show you in a second how it's all coated that tofu. So that turmeric, just that quarter of a teaspoon of turmeric that we put in earlier, is going to coat all of this tofu. So you literally just want to mix this together until everything is stained with that turmeric. And talking of staining with the turmeric, it will stain your wooden spoon. So after a while it will come out, after you wash the wooden or whatever implement you're using to move the spoon in the pan. After so many washes it will come off, but it does take a little while. So what you can do, oh that's alright, don't worry Kay, you can always watch this video back at a later date. Thanks for watching. Yeah, so what you can do is you can get a wooden spoon or plastic spoon or whatever you're going to use, and get one purposely just for making this or just for dishes that use turmeric, and that way it doesn't matter if it stains because you're only using it in that recipe anyway. Yeah, it doesn't really bother me because I make this so often, and so it comes out eventually, but you certainly can do that if you want. So I'm just going to mix this a little bit longer because there's a few white spots still. So now you see what I mean when I say that, hopefully, there we go, that it's stained all of that tofu. So as I say, it doesn't seem a lot of turmeric, but it is enough. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go in with the milk. Now I was going to explain why we've got milk. So the reason we're adding milk is because one of the joys of tofu is that it's spongy, as Sarah said. It is like a sponge, so it soaks up flavour. So whatever flavour, especially moisture, that you put in here is going to soak it up. So what that's going to do with this is it's going to make it even more like scrambled egg. It's going to make it like really creamy scrambled egg. You can, I know that the blokes at Bosch, they do this and then they add silken tofu to make it creamy. But a lot cheaper and easier way, I think, is just to add the milk. So, as I say, it does make it creamy. It also obviously adds a little bit of flavour. Or a little bit more flavour, I should say. So that's why we're adding the milk. Okay, so I'm just going to add that in now, and it's going to, again, it's going to seem, oh god, it might actually seem like quite a lot of milk. At first you're going to see it on the bottom of the pan and it's going to seem like too much. But just keep mixing it and eventually that will soak into the tofu. And as well as making it moist, it's also going to enable all of those herbs that you put in there to combine with everything and mix together. And after a little while you're going to notice, say, that it's like a really creamy scrambled egg. Which I'm just going to do this and then I'm going to try and show you what I mean. Just let me know how you're finding this camera angle, because I can try and adjust it if need be. I'm aware that it's chopped my head off. Mind you, that might be a good thing that you can't see my face. But right. Okay, so that's all done now, so I'll just show you that. So hopefully you can see how that's gone all nice and creamy now. It's a bit difficult to show you the camera being there, but so that's done. So all we need to do now, I'm just going to move the salt out of the way. The last few things to do at this point, if I was having this on toast, and I have written a few things down that you can do with this, because you don't have to have it on toast as breakfast. You can have it as part of a full English breakfast. You can put it in egg fried rice or vegetable fried rice. You can do a breakfast hash with it, buy some little new potatoes, put some mushrooms in, put this in. You can do a pad thai with it. I often buy the pad thai kits, and instead of using egg I'll use this mixture. If I'm doing something like the pad thai though, I wouldn't put all these veggies and that in. I would literally just have like the herbs and the tofu. But there's many things you can do. Basically anything you would use scrambled egg for, you can use this for. So I'm just going to leave the recipe out of the way. So the final thing to do really, other than, as I say, get some toast on if you're having it on toast, is to get a big handful of spinach, put that on the top. It's going to seem like a lot, but obviously spinach wilts. So I'm just going to leave this here for a little while until it starts wilting, then I'll mix it all through, or it's just going to go everywhere. That will happen quite quickly. I think I might actually put a teensy bit more milk in, which normally it doesn't need, but it seemed like a little bit dry, so just bear with me a second. And that's what I mean by adapting this. If you want a bit more milk in it, put a bit more milk in it, make it a bit creamier. If you want less, put less in. Just make it your own. Just going to try and mix this through a little bit. This is like big leaf, if you know what I mean, spinach. So it will take a little longer to wilt down, but as I say, if you want to use baby leaf, obviously that's going to wilt quicker. Or what you could do is use normal spinach and then just chop it into smaller pieces, which I probably should have done, to be honest with you. But this will wilt down eventually, just keep mixing it. What milk? I'm using, Annabelle, I'm using oat milk. But I said at the start of the video, you can use cashew milk or you can use rice milk, but don't use something like coconut milk, or I guess you could use soya milk. but I usually use rice only because it's quite a kind of a neutral flavour, I guess you want to say. You don't want something like coconut milk because that's going to be too strong a flavour and it's going to overpower it. Obviously if you're not vegan you can always use cow's milk. So this is almost incorporated now. I'm just going to get the last few bits incorporated. And I love spinach, literally. If I can, like the chickpeas, if I can put spinach in something or serve it with something, I do. I go through so much tofu, so many chickpeas, so much spinach. It's untrue. I literally buy 3-4 blocks of tofu at a time. Because it lasts quite a while and it's so versatile. You can even use it in cakes and cheesecakes, desserts, things like that, as well as in savoury things, obviously. As I'm now showing, it's a great alternative to scrambled egg, good alternative to chicken. Really, really good ingredient. Oh, I'm going to mess my hob again. As you can see, I'm not a very clean cook, but okay, so this is almost incorporated now. So I'm just going to take it a little bit further and then I'm going to add a bit more milk. So, because this is a tiny bit dry. And then I'm going to dish it up. And I probably won't show you on the camera because I'm going to end up tipping it all over the place. So I'll end the video then, but then I'll post a photo of what it looks like in the dish, so that you can see. I'm not serving it on toast today, but as I say, you certainly can serve it on toast if you want. It's a really nice healthy breakfast. And Sarah will be pleased because there's lots and lots of free food and stuff in this. The chickpeas, the peppers, the onions. I'm not sure about spinach, how many sins spinach is. If you know, Sarah, you could pop it below, it'd be great. Obviously the spinach, that's a free food, I guess. If I'm wrong, sorry. Okay, so I'm just going to pop a little bit more oat milk in. Important to shake oat milk because it settles. I'm going to go with too much. I just want it a bit creamier. So I put it in the way of the camera. Okay, so that's probably about right there. Yeah, that's about right. I'm just going to pop this milk back and turn off the hob. At this point my toast would probably be done and I could butter that. I see it's superfood. Yeah, it is. It's really, really good for you. Okay, so that's it. I'll try and show you what this looks like in the pan. Just bear with me a second. Okay, hopefully you can kind of see what that looks like, but I say I will post a picture of it in the dish to show you what it looks like. Sorry about that. But yeah, that's it. That is scrambled tofu. So as you can see, it's really not difficult to make. Although there's a fair few ingredients, the majority of them you're going to have anyway. Yeah, I highly recommend you try it, obviously. Just give it a go and see what you think. So thanks everyone for watching. As I say, I'll post a photo of what it looks like plated up and hopefully you'll give it a go. Thank you. Oh, and thank you for Sarah as well and Charlie for letting me do this video. Thank you. Bye.